Okay, let's begin with an adagio that I like to give because it just lays down all the groundwork for the en dehors pirouette. And the problem with the pirouette, as with any step, is whether or not you do the correct preparation. So beginning with the tendu in second, you want to make sure you're on this leg, and you have a demi-rond de jambe. And I like to keep this back leg straight. I'm going to lower the heel without going back. And I like this better than closing in. It makes a longer line. So this is count 3. Then on 4, we're going to begin the promenade. And since the weight is on this leg, this heel will start to come up. Because this is the moment when you turn where actually the foot would come. But it's important that you realize that you do have to turn the plie because the foot's behind you. And now you're going to straighten, and you bring your foot to position, a retiré. And you want to make sure, just check yourself that you finish, nice and square. Then you're going to continue and changer and close it back. So now you're in croisé. Okay, then the second half is let's do a développé, slowly. Devant, and place it in tendu. You have lots of time, demi-plié. Shift the weight, and now let's do a développé to third arabesque. Stretching out, tendu, and demi-plié. Then adjust yourself so you're en face. And then we'll go the other side. So this is a count. This is 1. And this is 2, and this is 3, and this is 4, and I always want to check that. I can see myself on my leg, and here's the promenade, 5, 6, and check it again. There's your balance, nice and square, and close, 8, and your développé, 1, and make sure you make a picture, show the leg, and tendu, and 5th, and to the back, all the way out, and tendu, and 5th, and then we'll stop. All right, let's look at Michele. Michele shifts her weight over her left foot and turns her standing leg in so that she can get off her heel and balance over her toes. Do you see that her hips are square and forward, and she's got a high chest and a long neck? Her right arm moves forward in opposition to the right leg going back. She stretches her left arm back, keeping her weight over her left toes. She stretches up and forward as she lowers her heel. She presses down and out, and her knees open over her toes as she begins to turn the plie. She keeps the left shoulder back. Both arms are open. She checks herself in the mirror, making sure that her head and body are lined up over her standing foot. She keeps stretching back to the left as she turns to the right. Her arms are still open, even as her foot comes off the floor. You want to be sure you do this. As she promenades, you can see she's got her hips square and forward, and that her body is placed way over her standing foot. It's very clear that she's on her leg. As she does a changer, she stretches up and out through her arms. Her ears are up and back, and her shoulders are back and down. She's pushing her left hip forward, over her standing toes. In demi-plie, she shifts her weight to the right leg so that she will be able to brush the left foot to her ankle and on up to passe. Her right hip is pushed forward, and she's stretching up and away from it as she does the développé. Notice the coordination of her arms with her leg. Her energy always flows equally in all directions from the center of her body. Using the muscles in and around her pelvis, she keeps her supporting hip pushed forward as she stretches up and out through her head and arms. She uses her stomach muscles as she lowers her legs slowly to the tendu. She's always resisting each movement. If something goes down, something has to go up. Her balance is dynamic. It's always changing, creating one pose after another. Do you see how her eyes follow her hands and her arms move with her legs? Notice how she keeps her standing hip forward, well over her toes. Keep your eyes on her head, neck, and chest. They will remain constant as she tilts her pelvis and arches her back, pointing her arabesque foot and leg up and away from her standing leg. She stays over her toes and doesn't rock back on her heel at all as her leg goes to arabesque. Can you see the vertical line that goes up through her chest, neck, and head and down through her standing leg into the floor? She's got her ears and eyes up and far away from the floor. She has a very high skeleton. She's always stretching up and out. Michele lets her standing leg turn in a bit so that she can correctly shift her weight and balance without twisting and harming her knee. She wants to keep her left hip high and forward over her toes. You can see she's using her stomach muscles strongly so that the moving leg doesn't pull her back on her heel. She's stretching up and forward against the backward movement of her leg. Watch her waistline and hips as she lowers the tendu foot. Look at her stomach. She's really pulling it in tightly. Her left knee stays over her toes. As she turns a plie, you can see how she's even stretching out through her fingers. She uses her whole body. She keeps her stomach tight. When she's turned halfway around, she'll be straight on her leg. As she does a promenade, do you see how she moves her heel? It's one balance at a time, each in a different direction. That's how you do a promenade. And that's why when you do your bar work, it's always a good idea to test your balance and see if you can get off your heel. Because isn't that what you have to do here? If you can't get off your heel, you can't move. And if you can't move, you can't dance. Remember, ballet dancing is more than beautiful positions. It's the movement that makes the dance and the pirouette. When Michele does the other side, remember that she's always stretching up and away from the floor while sending her weight down through her standing foot into the floor. She always makes sure she's not sitting back on her heel. She stretches up and away from the tendu, hips forward, stomach pulled in tightly. Look at her supporting hip. It stays right there over her toes. She's stretching to the right as she's going to turn to the left. She's literally turning herself out, working inside out from the center of her body. Sending her energy and weight simultaneously in opposite directions puts her on balance.
And again, we clearly see that the promenade is a series of heel movements that change focus. She stays in one piece as she does this, with simply placed, relaxed arms. Look at that supporting hip. And she shows a beautiful retiré position. She always pulls in her stomach muscles and pushes forward with her buttocks. And because she works in opposite directions while she's stretched up and over her standing foot, she can push the floor with the ball of her foot, which lifts the heel and allows her to turn her promenade with ease. You want to be sure you master this exercise, as it teaches you the basic and necessary elements of the en dehors pirouette. When you are able to do this with ease, you are ready to go on and turn.